I want to talk to you a little bit about when not to get involved, these types of high-risk incidents where it's probably way outside your comfort zone and you should just not get involved. And again, these are going to be some rare incidents and places where maybe you shouldn't subject yourself to the potential harm that is going to occur, right? So these are really the direct involvement, not the indirect involvement where you're making an anonymous report, you're calling into the police anonymously or something like this. But it is those situations where your identity is known and this potential for physical harm to yourself is extremely high. So the first one is anytime there is a weapon involved, such as a gun or a knife, we don't necessarily want to have direct involvement unless, of course, you understand a couple things. First and foremost, you truly understand who is the victim and who is the perpetrator. A lot of times, a person that is holding the weapon, the gun or the knife, may actually be using that in self-defense. And so we don't necessarily know who the victim or the perpetrator is, and we could go over and intervene in an incident and end up hurting the person that is truly the victim because we've only seen a snapshot that is not the whole story. So in those particular cases, it's probably best to dial 911. And again, if you haven't had training on how to disarm a firearm, how to disarm someone with a knife, you're going to be at a very high risk of potential serious injury or even death. So those are incidents where you should stand off to the side, dial 911, if maybe take photographic evidence with your video camera on your phone or something like that. If it is something where it is a motorcycle gang, another gang, some type of mafia or other kind of organized unit that will retaliate, find you, threaten your family, then those are situations where a direct conflict or interaction with that group could be very dangerous for you. And again, dialing 911 is the best type of interaction. Another incident which is high risk is if there is a group of individuals that are physically involved with the victim. So again, maybe it's 3 or 4 people that are beating someone up or raping someone or being very hands-on with them. You may not have the physical training to participate in breaking that up. And again, your best action at that point is to dial 911 and make sure that you are in a safe location. I'll tell you a quick little story here. My cousin was involved in an incident like this where he was walking home and there were 3 or 4, I think it was a total of 4 individuals that were raping a girl, and he decided that he was going to intervene in the incident. He broke the incident up, got the girl out of there, kind of took a small beating, but then later they came to his house and they ended up, it wasn't a gang, they ended up beating him with a baseball bat, fracturing his skull, inflaming his brain, and now he's paralyzed on a portion of his body. And so the idea there is, again, sometimes these high-risk incidents, even though you may have a responsibility to pick up the phone and make the phone call, you don't necessarily want to directly get involved with those situations because the risk is just too high and you're not trained to deal with that, or you don't have the level of security and protection you need at your home. So be mindful of those incidents. Again, think about these beforehand. Another type of direct involvement is if it is in a mob type situation where you would get caught up in, trampled, or stampeded upon if you were to get in the middle of it, or you may actually, you've seen this time and time again, where just recently with the shootings of African Americans by police officers, you are seeing a riot or a protest where some bad individuals have broken out into violence, and at this point people are going down and they're bystanders. They're trying to get involved at some level. They're trying to photograph, they're trying to write a news article, they're journalists, and then the police fire off pepper balls and these things, and they get hit inadvertently, because at that point no one can tell who is who, and so everyone looks like a target. So these again are these high-risk incidents, and you need to be prepared for your level of comfort and confidence. So these are ones that I would say direct involvement, where you are getting hands-on and physical and really showing your face, may not be the best option. Again, that's up to you to decide, but always behind the scenes, anonymous reporting, following through on those legal channels, that's a better option in some of these cases. And it's sad and unfortunate, and I understand, but you also have to consider yourself and your family and their safety. So think about how that looks and how you would do those types or deal with those types of incidents.